Hello, everyone. My name is Alvin Motunga, and I'm very excited to share with you my 12-week internship journey at Levy Electrical Services. This video summarizes my internship experience, and it captures the skills that I have gained and the challenges I've faced and the lessons I carry forward at the end of this program. This was in part fulfillment of my master's degree in engineering management, which I study at James Cook University. So I will break it down into 5 sections. And the first section, I'll be talking about the company where I worked in. Then I'll go on to talk about the experience I gained, what each weekly activity was like. And then after that, I'll talk about the lessons I took with me, and then looking forward. And then there'll be a summary at the very tail end of this video. So please come along with me and let us learn together. As I mentioned in the introduction, I had the absolute privilege to intern with Levy Electrical Services. This is a mid-sized company with about 30 to 50 employees, and their major area of work is electrical services, both domestic and commercial. But for the purposes of this training, I had the chance to be stationed in the domestic engineering department, where I worked under the tutelage of my supervisor, Engineer Gareth King. From the very first day and our very first meeting with my supervisor, I quickly put together that Levy Electrical Services is a company that sets itself apart by its adherence to safety standards and especially client satisfaction. And that first meeting helped me to put together a lot of understanding how plant decisions, safety standards, and electrical codes come together to make sure that the company continues to deliver on its mandate of being the best electrical engineering company in the South Side. Well, at least that is how they refer to themselves. And I believe them, because that is exactly how my experience has been with them, the best. In this second part of the video, I will be highlighting my experiences across the 12 weeks, looking at what my roles and responsibilities were and how we went through those across the weeks. And then I will be highlighting a few key achievements that I found very interesting in my learning experience. And if that's okay, I will be referring to my notes so I do not miss anything that I did across the weeks. So at the very onset from the introduction, I had to do an induction with the engineering team, where I learned about Levy's workflows, their commitments, their ongoing projects, and I also looked at some of their project portfolio. And going through that assisted me to get a gist of what they were into and what everyone around the office was doing. I also learned a little office culture. One thing that really stood out is the love for coffee that most people at the office had. I mean, it's a drink that everyone takes early in the morning. Without their coffee, some people, you may not talk to them. You would have to wait for them to have their coffee, But that is on a side note. That's about office culture. Moving on to weeks 2 through 4, I looked at designing, looking at performance issues, looking at performing load calculations and drafting electrical drawings. I perfected my AutoCAD skills. I had them, but only theoretical. And going through this experience with Levy helped me to put those academic skills into practical use. In fact, I also had a look at compliance issues, for example, looking at the NEC and the ASNZ standards, and how all these standards and design practices fits ultimately into the engineering practice. It was a lot of shift from the theoretical knowledge that I know to the practical aspect that comes out when you put those standards to good use. Later on, I shifted the gears to hands-on experiences, and this is where really the rubber meets the road. I loved this part, especially because I could help in the day-to-day activities of the company. So whether it be cable laying, fault testing, commissioning and pre-commissioning tests, and putting the designs that I had learned in week 2 and 3 and through to 5 into actualization. So the hands-on experience really helped me a lot in terms of bridging that gap between what I had designed and what was in the field that we were installing. Moving on to the other weeks, I also went through contract management. I went through maintenance as well in the later weeks. And looking at especially maintenance, we had issues with coordinating between the trades in the site. And sometimes when you meet sparkies, for example, another name for electricians, or when you meet the other trades, when they come in, everyone operates on different work cultures. So interacting with those helped me a lot to gain insight into how to manage people, how to deal with different teams, and how to put everyone together in a way that successfully delivers a project that the client wants. Now, if I move on to a few key projects that we had that I want to highlight and achievements, in weeks 2 and 3, we jointly with my team and other interns designed a domestic power system. We presented it to management, and we had done our best in making sure that it would actually be picked or settled upon. And then we had one-on-one session with the supervisor, and he shared very critical feedback. I must say, feedback when given helps a lot to build my skills, and especially when he brought up and clarified some of these technical accuracy needs that went into the design, the client needs, the standards, and putting all those together. It was very valuable feedback, because at the end of it, we had to go back and do iterations on the designs and even bring out a better design that was later, taken up for implementation. So that real participation in the day-to-day running of activities really helped with shaping my understanding from theoretical knowledge to practical knowledge. And I will talk about this in the next part of this video, where I talk about the skills gained and the lessons learned. We had to tackle a few faults, a few breakdowns, especially during maintenance, circuit breaker stripping or circuit breakers blowing, the oil spill which happened around week 7 or 8, and looking at how dealing with that and the environmental issues that came out of that. Also gave me a lot of lessons to take home with me. By the 11th week, I was dealing with contract management, understanding the legal side of engineering documents and how binding those can be, and understanding the importance of getting them right. So overall, across the weeks, I had a thing or two to learn and pick and go with me. This 12-week program has been a masterclass in technical and professional growth. Technically, I have mastered the skill of designing using AutoCAD. I have mastered using and applying electrical codes and safety standards and putting this in design. I have also mastered the art of fault finding, technical load analysis, pre and post implementation checks, safety analysis, risk assessment, and many more technical skills that I have learned. In terms of management, I have learned how to do cost control. I have looked at financial analysis and the total business side of the engineering practice. Speaking about professionally, I have grown my communication skills by a lot. When I went in at the start of the 12 weeks, I was very shy, not very ready to present, but my supervisor encouraged me a lot to grow my confidence, to speak and to voice my ideas. A point in case is when I went in for my first client meeting. I was shadowing my supervisor, but from then on, I quickly learned how to put confidence to good use. Now, it can be seen even in the recording of this video, what I have learned and gained across the 12-week program. Now, if I look at some of the challenges and lessons I've learned across the the 12 weeks. Early on, I struggled with communication. Now, that is not a problem or a challenge at all. I have actually mastered even how to coordinate different teams on site, to coordinate different contractors to drive site meeting agenda, and to even bring a lot of coordination in project execution. Across the weeks, I also learned how to take safety very seriously. There were 2 near misses, near falls from a ladder, the oil spill as well, the tools dropping near a colleague, highlighted the real requirement of putting safety first. The total point that we have learned out of this, and what I have especially learned, is to make sure that at the end of each working day, everyone goes home safe. Everyone gets to return to their home and to their loved ones in the states that they came in the morning, or even better if that is possible. And this is a tendency I will be putting into my future practice. Safety first at all costs. Safety must come first. And I will address this in the future plans as part of the next section, which will be finalizing and looking at future plans. Looking forward, and to summarize this video, I would like to state that this 12-week internship program has been very instrumental and transformative. It has equipped me with the technical expertise and the mindset to excel in my engineering career. I would especially be focusing going forward on 3 things majorly: safety, standards, and the total engineering excellence practice. I'd like to thank Olivia and the team at Levy Electrical Services. She is the sole proprietor and also the director of the company, and they have so graciously offered me a position to work with them after I graduate. And I would also like to extend gratitude to my supervisor, Engineer Gareth King, and the team at James Cook University, who have, through the course of 2 years, given me the academic knowledge and excellence to focus on engineering management and to learn the skills. So thank you, everyone, for the contribution you have made to this point. And I look forward to carrying this experience I have learned into my future success. Thank you very much.